Hey guys, Chris here from Carolot Farm. Welcome. Today is the last day of June and I have a bunch of updates to share with you. So much has happened. Last week we experienced our first major heat wave of the year, and I am still continuing to check on our tubs of water because I am recognizing that with minis and these smaller tubs, they still even though I fill them every day with cold water, they still have the tendency to get really warm. It's about 1 o'clock right now, and this red tub, I'm gonna say feels okay. It's still a little bit cool. Now the other trough I'm getting ready to check is our gray trough, and this sits in our back field. This trough tends to be a little warmer than the red tub, so let's see how it's doing early afternoon. What I'm gonna do, and what I've been doing for the last several days, really to the last week or more, is I'm gonna scoop out a little bit of water and then top it off with some good cold fresh water. You might see this structure behind me. We built this last week as a temporary shade shelter for Sweetheart. She overheated on us, I think it was last Tuesday. And so we knew right away that we needed a place to put her in the afternoon where we could reliably provide shade as well as access to fans. We have an extension cord just outside the feedlot, and that is where we're able to run power to our fans to keep her cool on the super hot days. Now that it's the end of June and after that heat wave last week, I am finding that I like to come out into the field with my horses middle of the afternoon, early to middle of the afternoon, and just to really lay eyes on them to make sure that no one is getting too hot or sweaty. Sweetheart's braid is not looking so hot today, but I have been braiding her mane just to give a little relief to that neck. This was a quick braid. The other day I did a really pretty long running braid when she was so hot. But that's one little trick that we've started doing just to try to give her a little bit of relief. When I started feeding Sweetheart and Rocky, it was recommended to me by our local feed specialist that because they were minis and because we were trying to put a little weight on them, the best grain to feed them would be Triple Crown Senior, and I have found that they both responded very, very well to that, and I've been very pleased. And because they're doing so well, I am going to be scaling them both back. Both of them are nice and round these days, and I don't have any concerns about them being underweight. The last thing I want, though, is for them to become overweight. Little Shenanigans here is still a little on the shaggy side. He's done a lot of shedding out, but he's not entirely slick and shed out just yet. And so on these warm days, his chest and his shoulders do get sweaty. And so I have actually started sponging him off sometimes, and that seems to be really, really helpful for him. This structure I did say was temporary, and it's something that we threw up really fast, like within an hour, early Wednesday morning. It worked well, it's still continuing to work, and it's meeting a need. However, what we have decided we want to do is to actually take this as inspiration and put a full permanent roof over both of our feedlots. And it will span the full length of the two feedlots, and the roof, instead of coming over just half of the feedlot, such as this one, it will actually come over the entire width of the feedlot, or the depth of the feedlot. So that is something we're going to work on, and one reason for that, really, well, two reasons for that. One is to provide shade for the horses, to give them another shelter, and although we have the stalls in the back run-in, those don't have access to power, or easy access to power, without actually digging a trench and legitimately running power to the barn. But by putting in a new roof here, it will allow us to access the extension cord on the outside of the feedlots to run our fans. And this way we can mount fans up high in the corners and really provide plenty of air movement. The outdoor structure will also provide better ventilation for Sweetheart. The stalls, because they're enclosed, if we were to start the fans going in there, my concern is that would actually churn up too much dust and debris, and that could cause even more breathing issues for her. So I really like this outdoor structure with the larger roof and access to our extension power. As I duck inside the shade of the stall, it is nice to be in the shade, but the stalls are a little stuffy. And I have seen the horses coming in here a little bit during this high heat, but not as much. And so that is another reason I really like that outdoor shade structure that provides more air movement. I think that is going to be in everyone's best interest moving forward. But the stalls, I will just mention while I'm in here, we are still putting a little bit of hay in the corners of the stall, but not near as much because the horses are really enjoying the grass and they're doing well on the grass. And for as long as we have nice green grass, I'll turn so you can see, as long as we have nice green grass in the ring and our back field and even our side paddock, which we just opened up a few weeks ago, I have been feeding less and less hay. Now that the horses are eating a lot more grass and a lot less hay, I have seen my numbers in hay bales being fed drop pretty drastically. This past month, the month of June, I fed, I believe I saw only 5 square bales, and that is 5 bales for all 4 of the minis. Whereas in the previous months, the previous 2 if not 3 months, we had been feeding on average 10 bales of hay a month, again split between the 4 minis. And so just this past month of June, we have cut the amount of hay that we have fed in half. And that is still putting out more hay for them to choose to nibble on that they're really just leaving behind. So I'm glad to still put a little hay out, but I am definitely recognizing that they're eating very little hay and they're really choosing to eat the grass, which is still nice and green. I'll show you behind me here, we have the ring and it's nice and green. And as I walk a little farther through the barnyard, you will see that we have just as much nice green grass for our minis to graze on in the side field or side paddock where Shenanigans and Rockstar are, as well as this back field where Snuggles and Sweetheart are choosing to graze. So for these 4 minis, we have more than enough grass for them. Everyone is staying nice and comfortable. I'm not concerned about them, but I am still watching them. But because of the grass, we are not feeding much hay. Now I recognize that here in the next few weeks, the grass could dry up. And so I'll keep a watchful eye on when they need more hay. Both of these guys are doing well. You know, Shenanigans, he's a little sweaty on the shoulder. Rocky is not very sweaty. And I noted in one of our other videos, but he does not seem to sweat very much. And so we're going to keep a close eye on him to make sure that he is still drinking plenty. He seems to be feeling well. But whenever you have a horse that is profusely sweating or one that is not sweating in high heat, you definitely want to take note. Another thing I will say, in the summertime, your troughs, if they're like mine, they get grimy a lot faster than in cold weather. And so I'm finding that not only am I, pulling water out to add more cold water multiple times a week, if not almost every day on the regular, I'm having to really completely empty my trough at least once a week just to scrub it down really, really well. So that's kind of a new update for this time of year. But it is important that your horses have clean water, cool, clean water preferably, because they need to keep drinking just as much as we need to keep drinking. Snuggles is wanting to come and drink while I'm in the process of filling, and so I've just turned the water off. She sometimes likes to play. Let's see what she does. Hi, sweet girl. The farrier came out this morning and everyone got a trim. Everyone did well. Snuggles here is young. She is still wiggly, but she was pretty good. A little trough filling tip that I am finding helpful is when I fill a clean trough such as this that is already in the shade, it's in the afternoon shade. So I know that this water is not likely to get too hot over the rest of the day. I have not filled this trough all the way to the brim though, and that way when I come back tomorrow early afternoon, I will have plenty of room in the trough to then fill the level with cold water, and I won't have to be paling out as much water as I did today. So that's a little tip if you are like me and you are filling your troughs pretty frequently. Finding ways to conserve water here and there is always good. I could save the water and carry it to the garden. I've done that before, but I've actually just been taking it as of late and just spreading it in the field because I figure the grass could use the water too. Just last Friday, we had the vet out for Sweetheart, who was experiencing an asthma flare-up. This was stemming from the high heat and humidity that she had experienced all week long and the increased labored breathing that she had been having. And so the vet came out, did a really thorough check, and she's now on a 2-week round of Dex, and she's responding very, very well. I'm happy to report we're beginning to kind of wean her now down off of that high dose. So I'll keep you posted, but so far she's doing really well and she's responding well to the medicines. But we do know that we have to keep a very close eye on her because as summer continues, likely she could have more of these challenges. So, you know, we'll do what we can do, but again, the shade, the fans, the medicine, and just cold water, keeping a watchful eye over her are all these things that we can do within our abilities. And then when in doubt, call the vet. So she's doing well, and I'm so happy to report because we certainly had some scares last week. Not only did she have the asthma flare-up, but I guess I'll also say she overheated on us Tuesday, which I think I mentioned because that's what led to the shelter. But if you want to check out those videos from last week's heat wave and all of those different things that we experienced, largely with our poor Sweetheart here, you can find those. So again, thanks for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you check back soon, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.